What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick, soon to be joined by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. Yes, it is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast on the Jalyx hunt. Hope you are all doing well on this lovely Wednesday evening. We're in sort of a little bit of lull in college football land at the minute. The two main All-Star games are done. The Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, we went over those last week. We don't get the HBCU Legacy Bowl for just over a week yet. And then we're about 2 weeks away from the Combine. So we're in this tiny little bit of a lull in the middle right now where we're just sort of twiddling our fingers as it pertains to the path to the draft at the minute. So today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be going through a bit of news first, but we thought we're going to set ourselves a draft challenge. We started doing some of these last year, and I've always wanted to do a few more of them. Like when we did the Are We Smarter Than a Mock Draft Simulator thing, which we will be doing again this year as well, a bit closer to draft time. But over the years, me and Rye, while we've been doing this, we've done pretty well when it comes to day three and picking out some of these guys who may end up with the Lions, who will just end up doing it well in the NFL in general. The draft diamonds, as you were, because we watch college ball all year and we watch a lot of these guys, we seem to have found a little bit of a knack of picking them out and doing well in this. So what we said we were going to do this week, we set ourselves a challenge. We are going to compile a list of players we believe will be targets for the Detroit Lions for the 2025 NFL draft, specifically pertaining to day three. So I've got some names here. Ryan's going to have some names as well. And what we're going to do this, I think, together as a pair. We're going to create a list of 10 players who we believe might well end up on the Lions in day three and give the reasons as to why we think they're going to end up here. And then obviously when the draft comes around, we've got like 3 or 4 picks there at the minute, maybe get a few more from trades, whatnot. We'll see how many, if any of them, are able to land on the roster and maybe how good we are at doing this. So, we're never afraid to put our names out there. We're never afraid to put our reputations on the line. So we are gonna do that today. Let's just shout out people who are in the building first. I've seen Mile Marker is in there. Hope you're doing well, Mile Marker. Got North Dakota State news today and bits. So yeah, certainly plenty for you there. If you're in Twitch as well, I will log in a moment to see if anybody is in there. As always, if you've got any questions as the evening goes on, then just let us know. It's going to be a bit of a shorter show today. We always say this, but with a sort of bit in between at the minute, there's not a lot we can do because we're very busy compiling our draft lists and boards at the minute, and until they're all complete, there's not really a lot we can do with it. So yeah, we'll see where we're at, but we'll need your questions as well. So let us know. It'll give us some depth to the show. So yeah, we'll sort that. Let's just get all the housekeeping out the way first, and then I'll dive down into the news while I await Ryan here. Hopefully, otherwise, I'm going to be doing this on my own, and that's going to make it a lot harder for me. So Roar the Lions UK, the Discord, if you want in on that, just let us know. The link will be posted out. I think Matt's already done it. So yeah, if you want in, come let us know. It's a hotbed of activity at the moment. Good place as well to get all your Lions news in there. Main podcast, obviously, week just gone. We did our Super Bowl review and did sort of a mailbag episode as well. So if you've not checked that out, do so. It was a lot more entertaining than what the Super Bowl was. Let me just tell you that for sure. Don't forget to like and sub to everything, Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff. We really appreciate your following and your support. It does mean everything to us. Don't forget about Lions Nation Unite as well. Herman Moore's project to bring together the best in Lions content creators from over YouTube, from everywhere, into one forum to talk anything and everything. Detroit Lions, you'll see me on there occasionally. And then we're an affiliate on Twitch. We're monetized on YouTube. We've got a tip jar, all that good sort of stuff there. So if you want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we just love having you all in the building to talk ball. We got the feedback form as well. So any comments, any questions, anything like that, fill it in. We will take it on board. Okay. while I'm waiting for Rye, we will dive down into the news for a little bit, and then I'll get get Ryan's opinions on that. Oh, he's just coming into the room now, so we'll hold on to the news for one moment, and then we'll get this thing up and going. Here he is. He's in the building. Hey, Rye, how you doing? Oh, we'll just have to wait for him one moment while he gets his sound up. Sorry about this. We will get going in just one moment. Oh. Oh. Du-du-du-du. Oh, no. Oh, we got him. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, in terms of the news, we've got a couple of bits to go with this week. It pertains to, actually, a couple of bits pertain to Detroit this week. We've got a new coach coming in from the collegiate ranks, and we've got an old friend going into the college game, which is going to incite one of the biggest hate watchers of all time, which is going to be fun. How are you doing, Ryan? Can you hear me now?
Slightly, yeah. Like I say, I'm on my phone, so bad angle, can't use computer. My mic won't work, so
Oh
it's one of
God.
those.
Oh well, we'll find a way to make it work. We always do. How are you doing
You
this
can see
week?
me, you're all just looking up at me.
Absolutely. Love the jacket, by the way. Very good. Oh, jumper. Love the jumper. Repping the Lions there. How's everything anyhow? You been good?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, not bad, thanks. The same. We're in this little bit of a lull now between the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl is done. Then we've got just over a week till the HBCU Legacy Bowl, 2 weeks till the Combine. The Combine invites are out there now, so we're in a bit of a lull. So we've got this little challenge for ourselves to do today, which is going to be fun. But first, we'll dive down into the news. A couple of little bits to go through. And as I say, if anyone has questions, just put them in the chat there and we'll get to it. Where we Brent's in the building. Hope you're doing well there, Brent. So, news-wise, the Detroit Lions have gone into the collegiate ranks to bolster their staff. So, the Lions are hiring Iowa State assistant head coach Tyler Roll as an offensive assistant. The specifics of yet are still undisclosed. His career thus far, my marker will like this. He played and graduated from North Dakota State, the Bison, between 2004 2008. He was an undrafted free agent going into the NFL, picked up by the Seattle Seahawks, but he tore his anterior cruciate ligament in the offseason, which abruptly ended his NFL career, and he went back into coaching pretty quick. His first coaching start came at Concordia as a running back coach in 2010, but then he moved back to North Dakota State, where he's been pretty much since then. Started as a grad assistant in 2011, then he became the running back and tight ends coach between 2014 to 2018. Then he became the offensive coordinator as well as the tight end and fullbacks coach between 2019 and 2023. Then he got himself a nice big promotion to Iowa State as assistant head coach and running backs coach under Matt Campbell in a year which saw Iowa State make the Big 12 championship game. I mean, in terms of talking about the guy himself, right, we maybe not know too much, but we know his teams very well. You have watched a lot of Bison football over the years. I watch every single game of Iowa State because of the spectacle, etc. And I think it's safe to say this guy is very experienced. He's played on teams which only know how to win championships or go to championship games, and teams that have a proven pedigree for their players, of which he brings through. You think of the fullbacks. Hunter Lupke is with the Dallas Cowboys as a fullback in the NFL. It's not easy. They've had undrafted tight ends in three of the last four drafts. North Dakota State has been an offensive behemoth here. This seems a very apt hire from these guys. We use fullbacks. We're a running football team. We're an aggressive football team. What do you make of the hire for the Lions?
I'm a big fan of the hire. As you say, it comes from a prolific school that knows how to run the ball. Their offensive line has done incredibly well in blocking schemes and also been able to be in play action from his time with the Bison. So he's got the best of both worlds. And then, like you say, he's recently been working with a great group of young receivers, some good quarterbacks, and some very talented offensive players for the Cyclones. So he's done it at both levels. He's got a good amount of experience. It'll help him going forward in his pro. And also, but there's some players and staff we might be able to pair him with after this coming class. So I like the hire. I feel like it's not a one size fits all kind of position for him. He'll be fluid and float in between. He's got experience with tight ends, O line, and receiver. So I feel like he'll have a great chance to flourish in his offense. And it feels like one day he could go down an avenue for a line for a promotion if QB, receiver coach, tight coach, I say assistant grad. So if one of those does open up, he could behind them up our potential offensive coordinator one day. So yeah, he's definitely varied in his current experience.
Yeah, certainly a vehement rising star coming through the ranks, and I think that just goes to show the sort of gravitas that the Lions have now. This is a guy who is very experienced. He got his promotion last year. When we were looking at potential guys to come up from the collegiate ranks, I didn't really need to look in his direction because he's only done 1 year there. But this is a guy who spies an opportunity. He's done well everywhere he's been, and I'm really looking forward to what he brings here. And maybe, just maybe, he's gotten those connections ready with the Bectical. So when he comes into the draft in 2 years, maybe he wants to come back and live with his old offensive coordinator here in Detroit when Goff's coming towards the end of his deal. So I would absolutely love that. But yeah, I think that's a smashing hire from the Lions, diving down into the collegiate ranks for Tyler Roll. We will wait to see specifically what he has in terms of his offensive duties. But I've no doubt he's going to do very well here. And then the other big bit of news that broke not that long ago pertaining to the Lions in college football is our former head coach, he who shall not be named because he is so much hated in this city, is the new defensive coordinator at Ohio State. So if Michigan fans didn't have enough reason to hate Ohio State already, this just ratcheted it up another notch. The rumors were out there, Ryan, that he'd interviewed for this. Whether it was going to be a permanent thing or not, we didn't know, but it is now official. He who shall not be named is at Ohio State coming into this year. And I think it's safe to say this is going to be one of the biggest hate watchers ever on record, hoping that they fail. If Ryan Day wasn't bad enough, he's got he who must not be named with him now.
Yeah, it's not the worst hire. Like I say, Patriots defenses when he was there, they weren't terrible, they weren't all that bad, but he was running Bill Belichick's defense. Like you say, he had a lot of talent and he had a lot of wealth of experienced coaches there. It was more of a collective than it was him. So I've never bought the fact that he's a defensive guru. As much as he likes to think he is, or some people around think he is, I'm never buying it. And then yeah, a disastrous stint as our head coach. Not even on the field, it was off the field. He made himself so unlikable. I don't care about losing games. It's like say, do it a bit of dignity, a bit of class, at least kind of warm yourself to the fans. Feels like he never ever did that. And now, like you say, yeah, he screwed over one team, Michigan, like you say, really got their noses up, and now he's gone to the other side of the fence, gone to the Buckeyes, and he's a bit of a leech. He's latching onto a team right now that is a winner, like you say, and for him, yeah, it's a good hire, but like I said, they lost an incredibly good defensive coordinator to a bitter rival. Like I say, so that will have stung. So I hope they've thought long and hard about. Like I said, I hope he has success. I hope he's able to prove me wrong and other people wrong. And he goes out there and sends a load of class like Sonny, like to the draft. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, he has got big shoes to fill. And he won't come cheap. He'll be a high earner. So he's going to be instantly under a lot of pressure. If he fails, you're not going to see him in a big high profile job again. This feels like last chance saloon. If you ever want to get back to the NFL, got to hit the ground running here.
Yeah, he's doing the Matt Rule. He's gone to try and recreate his image down there, hasn't he, so that he can rehab himself maybe for another NFL job in the future. But as we've said about this Ohio State defense, this year, 10 of their 11 starters were year fours or older. So, like, it was like Florida State, they put vastly experienced. That's why they're so good. A lot of this team is going towards the draft. Only Caleb Downs is younger as a starter on that team. The rest he's going to have to replenish, including that entire defensive line. So in terms of he's not going to get it easy there. He's not inheriting very much. Obviously, they'll have guys who've played backups, guys who've played special teams, big time, big name, high star recruits, etc. But in terms of actual starting talent and starting reps, you're not going to have that many to work with. So yeah, interesting to see. But yeah, if this wasn't a vehement enough rival already, he who shall not be named going to Ohio State is just going to stoke this rivalry to an even bigger level. And I already can't wait for the game in November. So we'll see what happens with that. I think that was about everything in terms of the little bits of news and that this week. Nothing else that I can think that has jumped off the page. So, unless we've got any other bits in now, questions wise, we'll dive straight down into our main bit of the day. Brent's there, he goes. Mark goes, oh hell no, state. You know what? That's what I actually might end up calling them. Just gonna hate on them so much next year compared to normal. It is terrible. Brent goes, changed your view on Ty Robinson, Antony. I have not yet because I've not watched him. I don't like to give views on people until I've got a solid enough process of them. So there are a lot of players in the draft. So forgive me, Brent. I will do. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see as we go along. Right, let's move into what we came here to do today. And as mentioned, in past years gone by when me and Ryan have been doing this, we are very much we like the small school guys, we like the underdogs, we like the FCS guys, we like the guys who get disrespected and underappreciated, and generally by and large they end up in day three of the draft. And as the years have gone by, we've done pretty good in, finding out some of these guys, especially the ones who've gone on and been a bit more successful in the NFL, because it's very hard to do that as a day three pick. So we thought what we'll do this year, we'll have a little draft challenge, especially as we're in the lull before the combine right now. And what we're going to do is we are going to attempt to compile a list of potential day three guys who will end up here in Detroit and list our reasons as to why we think we're going to end up here. How many did you do in the end, Rye? How many have you got?
I've got 5
That's
that I've
good.
got notes on.
That's good because what the parameter of this is going to be, we're going to do 10. So hopefully 5 from each person. Hopefully we're not overlapping
I've
here.
got different positions as well for all of them.
Oh, I've got 4 defense. I've got 4. In fact, I've got quite a lot, but I've had to whittle them down, and I've been pondering this for the last few days now. But I think I'm relatively happy with where I'm at. So, as I say, we're going to do like a main group of 10. Not going to do any more because if you do 20 or 30, that's not really, guess. You've got more odds on chance of getting one if you're going to do that many. So, we're going to do a few less. So, we're going to compile this list together, 5 of each, and then. I've not told you about this, but one to think about. I want one for the end drive, which is a completely out there one. Like that nobody's going to think about, that nobody's going to predict. Your completely out there prediction for a Lions pick on day three. So we'll do that as well. So if you've directly got 5, then we may as well just sort of snake this and go forward. And hopefully, if you've got one of the ones I've got, I can do some backups really quickly. So yeah, you ready? You ready to put your knowledge to the test, Rye?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So, potential day three prospects. Now, obviously, taking this into account, like for a lot of these guys, I think they're higher than day three. So some of these guys I've left out, even though they might end up there. You've got to try and guess where they're going to land. Are they going to move too much because of the combine? Are they going to in the pro days, etc.? So this is not easy to do this long out. So let's start this off. Ryan, who is your first potential day three guy for the Lions and why?
My first day 3 pick is Zaquan Frazier, cornerback for the UTSA Roadrunners. So 3-year player, but just a 1-year starter. 6'3", 195 pounds. This year racked up 24 tackles, 9 passes defended, a forced fumble, and 6 interceptions. He was one of the best ball hawking players in the country. Like I say, 3rd team All-American and honourable mention and 3rd team CBS All-American team this year. Had an absolutely outstanding year. Like I say, he has got super long arms. He's built like a vulture. And he plays like a vulture as well. He's got fantastic hand-eye coordination. He's got good hips for a guy that's very tall, very lean, could do with putting on some muscle, but he breaks on the ball incredibly well. He comes down, he runs the routes, he's got nice soft hands, he's very comfortable in those kind of 50-50, like I said, chance to rip the ball away. The only thing that lets him down is the tackling. Right now in open field tackling, it feels like a bit of a lottery because he's only got one full year really as a starter. It feels like sometimes he's unpredictable. He could totally whiff, or he could go down, make a wrap up, or be very comfortable. So I think that's the side of the game that he really needs to work on is the short stuff to line of scrimmage and also assisting in the run. If he's able to work on keeping contain, he's got the size, which is something you can't teach. Had a great year. Like I say, he's got hands. He's very comfortable flipping his hips and then crashing down on the ball, intercepting balls. And like I say, taking them the other way. So he's got all them sorts of skills. I think he's a kind of kid that, yeah, work on special teams, may get a few turnovers, could make plays on Sundays. Like I say, he's got the stuff you can't teach. Put a little bit of muscle on him, just toughen him up a little bit. 10, 15 pounds. You're looking at a 6'3", 200-pound corner. Like you say, because of the lack of experience and the tackling, that's why he will slide. I've got a projection of round 6. Like I say, I think he's a good kind of guy that he's going to take a long time to develop, but he's still young. He's only had a real starting job 1 year. But yeah, comes from a good team. They sent a lot of players to the draft, so I trust them in their ability to help him get ready for the next level.
All right, so first on our list there is Zar Frazier, the cornerback from UTSA. Right, I'm going to start off my list here. And the first guy I have on my list of potential day 3 prospects for the Lions this year is Jackson Woodard, the linebacker from UNLV, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Rebels. So every year I've done this draft, back from when I just took a fleeting interest in it, there's one player I've always really stand for year by year. First year it was Richie Grant, the second year it was Reed Blankenship, then it was Puka Nacua, and then it was Christian Haynes last year as people got fed up with me saying that name. It's taken me a little longer this year to decide who I truly want to throw my name behind for this year's draft and stand, but I'm officially declaring it now. Jackson Woodard is the guy who I'm going to bat for this year. He's going to be 5th on a list that includes now a Super Bowl winner and an All-Pro. So I've not done too bad with this here, but I absolutely love everything about Jackson Woodard. He is 6'3", 230 pounds. He is the reigning Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. Spent 3 years at Arkansas. Before transferring for 2 years to UNLV, he followed over Bob Odom, who was the defensive coordinator at Arkansas. He was getting no playing time there, so he came over to the desert with him. And boy, oh boy, what a career it's translated to over the last 2 years. So at UNLV, he's amassed 1,774 snaps in 2 seasons, plays mostly in the box, does play a little bit on the defensive line and in the slot as well. 46 quarterback pressures, 7 sacks, 5 hits, 34 hurries, 170 solo tackles, 64 assisted tackles, 116 run stops, a missed tackle rate of just 12.7%, 66% completion against when it comes to receptions, but he has 5 interceptions and 12 pass breakups, 4 and 7 of which were this year. 4 battered passes, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 which he housed for a scoop and score touchdown. So there's a lot to like about this guy. First of all, he is the first ever academic Heisman candidate who's ever come out of UNLV before. He is highly into his studies. He is all about football. You listen to him talk. I have listened to him a lot now. He has a deep love for the game, a love that is required to come to a team like Detroit to play, that Dan will expect. But as I say, he has the academic Heisman nomination to go with it. He's all about his studies as well. He's got the right attitude. There's no red flags in terms of the attitude. He's had no issues off campus, anything like that. First of all, you want to see that is great, but he's relentless. He's instinctive. He's a natural play diagnoser. He's got the frame, 6'3", 230, but he's got the athletic ability to thrive in multiple alignments at linebacker. He's a good block shedder in the run game. He's able to get up, make plays quick. He has got great sideline to sideline speed, and especially this year as he's been developing, you've seen it with 4 picks this year. He has come on against these fast slot receivers, these big tight ends. He's been making plays on them, using the IQ to jump routes, to be able to mirror what they're doing. I absolutely love what you can do. You can play him a little bit at outside linebacker as well if you want, but you'll play him in the box. And I do think we need another guy going into next year because Malcolm ain't going to be healthy to start the year. We're going to need some more depth there. His coverage work has been some of the best by a linebacker in all of college football this year. And this, again, it's indicative of just how quick he is developing as a player, giving the limited starting experience of just 2 years. But when you look at him, he's got the build, he's got the athleticism, he's got the brain, he's got everything you need in a Lions player. And I just really, really want to see him in Honolulu Blue come the end of this draft. I mean, as for why he's going day 3, people go, well, if this is great, why is he going day 3? He's a group of 5 player. He is one of the premier group of 5 players, but the level of opposition always does raise cause for concern. But they had 2 victories over Power 5 teams this year, and they very nearly beat a third. He had a great game when they played against Syracuse, so I don't think the level of opposition is going to be too much for him. I think he's going to flourish very early, and he's going to turn into an integral part of a defense quickly. And he just gives you so much, and especially for us with the Lions, a coverage linebacker. It's kind of the stuff we had with Diane Henley last year, which I really liked about him. You're going to get with this guy as well, and I think we really need to invest in a proper coverage linebacker who can just play out of the middle as well. So, again, Jackson Woodard out of UNLV. If it was me, I'd be picking him day 2. He's probably going to go in day 3, the earlier parts of it. But I 100% think he might end up here. And even if he doesn't, wherever he goes, if he lands in the right system, he's going to be a great player in the NFL going forward. So yeah, that is Jackson Woodard, the linebacker out of UNLV. Let's switch it back over now to you, Ryan.
Great minds think alike because I've also got a coverage inside linebacker, but I've gone Carson Bruner. I've got the career Washington Husky. 4 years, 305 tackles, 9 passes defended, a sack, 4 forced fumbles, and 5 interceptions. 3 interceptions this year. I'd say he had a stellar year this year. 6'1.5", 225 pounds. Multiple all-time Pac-12 academic and all preseason honorable mention for all 12 Pac team in his career. He has been the leader of Steve Belichick's Huskies in recent years, on the field and off the field. Like I say, he's very well respected. He's incredibly solid and well-rounded. Like I say, he's played lots and lots of footballs across those 4 years. He's been a consistent key figure and contributor. And in the coverage game, I think he's one of the best coverage linebackers in the class. Like I say, he is incredibly comfortable coming up to the line and then dropping into a back pedal. He's got nice hips. He's very comfortable flipping either side of the field and then very comfortable trailing. Pick up a running back out the backfield, a tight end or a slot. He's able to drop back, mirror them, and then trail them. And if the ball does come his way, shown this year, he's able to break on it. And those tip drills where those balls are batted in the line by a defensive lineman, he's got like a bloodhound nose. He knows if a ball's going up in the air and come down, he wants to be the guy that comes underneath it. Like I say, he's incredibly strong. He's a good, robust tackler. Lots and lots of tackles throughout his career. He's got a decent sized build. Like I say, he's strong. He's well respected. I think he'll be someone that could earn playing time very quickly as a rookie in Detroit. I said, I'm with you that we need someone to maybe replace Derek Barnes. This is kind of that guy in that mold there, a coverage linebacker that will also then, I think he'll do great on special teams. Like I said, he'll fill one of those like JRM roles or like Antony Pittman that can cover all the kicks and the punts and should get plenty of solo tackles on special teams. This guy will be going somewhere between round 5 and 6. I think he'd be a great pickup for what we want to do with having multiple linebackers and also keeping core special teamers on the roster. He covers all them niches in one.
Like I said, great minds think alike. Love it. So that is Carson Bruner out of Washington, the linebacker. Staying on defense, I think there's going to be a lot of defense on here, but this is a guy who, this goes back a couple of years now to when he really broke out as a sophomore, and there were real big projections for this guy, and injuries just held him back enough that stunted his development to the point where he might slip into day three. I don't think he should, but he probably will. And that's Aubrey Burks. He's the safety from the West Virginia Mountaineers. Now, again, this is a team I've spent plenty of time watching over the last couple of years. He's 5'11", 209 pounds. He spent 4 years at West Virginia, 1,621 snaps, 799 at free safety, 407 at slot, 354 in the box, 50 on the defensive line. When you talk about guys who are versatile and can do it all, this is your man. He's racked up 130 tackles, 56 run stops, sports a missed tackle rate of 18%, which is a smidge on the high side. In coverage, he's 51 of 78, which is 65% given up against him. Got 3 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 sacks as they occasionally bring him up to blitz. So, as I mentioned, he had a great sophomore year. It was his first year as a starter in this Mountaineers team. And at the end of it, this guy had high-end draft projections going into his junior season. He was even hovering around the end of the first round at one point, given how well he'd done. But as I mentioned, he's just been held in check a bit. His junior year was a little inconsistent, although nothing major. But then there's just been a couple of niggling injuries as well. One which knocked him out for a big part of this year. It was an upper body injury. He's healthy now. He's recovered, but it's just stunted his development enough where it's knocked him from being a surefire prospect to being a possible prospect, and has dropped him into day three consideration. But in terms of what you want to look for in an upside on a day three, guys, I mentioned this is a guy who was projected a lot earlier for a reason. He's a highly versatile defensive back. He will fit in a whole variety of schemes. He excels especially in zone coverage. Now, I know the Lions have done a lot of man this year, but the Lions also like their guys who can sit back, read a quarterback, and make plays on the ball. And when it comes to that, he's a QB psychologist. He can diagnose the plays just by watching the quarterback and where he's looking. He's highly intelligent, and he possesses sub 4.5 40 speed, which is quick for a safety. So when you mesh that with his anticipation, it allows him to get to his destination on time, be it against the run, against the pass. He has got great closing speed downhill. It makes him a menace in the run game, and when he hits, he hits. And for the most part, given he is undersized and he plays fairly aggressive, he's fairly durable, even though he has had a couple of injuries here and there. For the most part, he's played a lot of games and a lot of time for them. The production does not match the player. So you look at 3 interceptions and 6 pass breakups in 4 years, and you're thinking, well, he can't be that good. He is. He's a lot more dangerous than these stats suggest. As I say, from that safety position, he does very well against the run. And he provides great coverage. And of course, when you're moving around all the time, you're playing a nickel, you're playing a safety, you're playing outside corner, it's very hard because you've got to adapt and develop at every position. So your learning process is a little bit harder and it takes a little bit more time as a result of that. But the versatility is going to give you a loan, especially in a system like ours where we like to move people between safety and nickel, and we need a bit more depth in the secondary. You're going to be able to sit, and we need depth at safety as well. We've got our starting safeties. We need someone to develop behind these guys. Aubrey Burks fits this, to a T. Now, the size may be an issue for some. The Lions have never shied away from taking players who are undersized at their position, like a Meek Robertson, like Malcolm Rodriguez. They don't care. As long as the technique's good, as long as the attitude's there, they don't care. He has both of these. His biggest barrier for now, he needs to get better in his man coverage. But that will come in time. He's got a couple of tackling techniques which need just, eking out a little bit. Like I say, 18% missed tackles. You just want to drop that a smidge at the next level. But yeah, sort of working against these big slot tight ends and receivers, that's where the challenge is going to come for him. But that's why you're drafting him as a development upside whilst you integrate him into your team. He can make an impact right away, and you can bring him in certain packages and he'll come in and do the job for you. So Aubrey Burks, the safety out of West Virginia, I think he's going to be potentially in day 3 plans for the Lions there. Flip it back over to you, Ryan.
I've got an offensive player, so I've got I'm going to butcher his name, Chimere DK. So I've got the Wisconsin, long-time Wisconsin Badger and one-time Florida Gators. With wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner. 4 years as a Badger, 1 year at Florida. 119 catches, 2,264 yards and 11 touchdowns. 750 plus return yards. Majority of that, though, over 700 yards, did come in his year as a Gator this year. So he's a guy that has kind of followed the path of Ricky Pearsall and Elijah Badger of coming to Florida for their last year of eligibility and having a really good year, like say, in an SEC offense. He did measure in at a bowl game. He was 6 foot and 3/8 and 192 pounds. He's got a decent build. I picked him because I feel like then we've seen Donovan Peoples-Jones, Maurice Alexander, and Tom Kennedy all look like that. But none of them will be on the team next year. I don't think it's time to blood in a new potential wide receiver 4-5. But also, if Craig Reynolds does go, we need a special teamer. We need a returner. We need someone to take the pressure off Khalif Raymond. And I think DK can be that man. Like you say, he's been a stellar returner. Like you say, he's been consistent. I think he's only called 2 fair catches in his career. So he is very good and potent at returning the ball. He's very comfortable at bringing it out. He's made some good plays. He's been very consistent. And he's also filled in a couple of seasons where he's been a rotational receiver, but he's also this year shown that he can actually take a big chunk of the pie for the Gators. So he was very good. He's got a good build. He can block when asked to. Like I say, it's something he needs to work on, but most of his work is short in intermediate ranges. So slants, digs, drags, ins, outs, stuff like that is very comfortable routes. And then you can get the ball in his hands, and then you give him the option to then turn upfield and make things happen. So he's a hard worker. Like you say, he can work on that the longer stuff. He's not much of a deep threat with much acceleration, but he's a good, safe pair of hands, and he might bring a bit of juice to special teams, which we need it. I feel like we're lacking out of the department right now. The wide receiver room, the depth anyway in the practice squad is going to be a big turnover. Might say it doesn't look like we're going to bring most of them back, and I think you can have him for a 6th, 7th round pick and blood in a new guy to the receiver room. So he shows a lot of promise.
So that is Kamere Deep from Florida, the wide receiver. Moving it back across to me now. So you said great minds thought alike for the coverage linebacker thing. Well, holds the same for cornerback as well. So I've got someone who's not too dissimilar from Zar Frazier. And this is one who came to my attention more in recent times, but I've done a lot on him since then, and I really like what he's all about. I've got O'Donnell Fortune. He is the cornerback from South Carolina, and I've fallen in love with this guy very quickly. So as I say, cornerback for the South Carolina Gamecocks. He is 6'1", 185 pounds. He has spent 5 years at South Carolina. He is a career Gamecock. He's taken about 1,700 snaps there, 1,500 of those at corner, 113 in the box, and then limited snaps elsewhere. So he has played primarily as a corner in his time. 108 total tackles, 35 run stops, a 20% missed tackle rate, which is getting a smidge on the high side. 69 of 121 on receptions, so just 57% given up when targeting him. He's got 7 interceptions, 8 pass breakups, and 3 forced fumbles. Now, again, the numbers on the scheme of it for a 5-year guy don't seem very high. However, you have to chart his journey through college football. So he had a very slow start in his first 3 years. He was a big special teams contributor. He played a lot of special teams in his time there. He was a core special teamer for them. But as a player, he was recruited as a safety to the team. But it was quickly decided that, given his frame, his talents lay better at the corner position. So basically, he had to learn a new position from scratch. He'd been taught as a safety, but they moved him to outside corner. So he had to learn everything that went with that before being able to work his way into the team. So the first 2 years were primarily special teams. 3rd year, he got into the rotation. Year 4 and 5, he has been a starter, but boy, has he flourished in that time. So in the last 2 years ago, and he's got 5 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, all his forced fumbles have come in that time. His missed tackle ratings come down year by year. Also been used a bit blitzing this year, which he's never done before. So he keeps adding new elements to his game. But in terms of who he is, he's another. He is an excellent zone coverage corner as his core strength. Now, again, we use man guys, etc., but he has the talents to work in both. His spatial awareness, his matching of routes, the leverage he uses while reading the quarterback, um, is why he gets so many turnovers. I mean, he's just a natural at the position. I think it's easy to say why South Carolina wanted to switch him over. Like I say, his ability to read the quarterback just means he can make an insane amount of plays on the ball. He's got natural ball skills as well. His hands are really good. He's got the speed. He housed a 100-yard pick six against Notre Dame last year, and he had to beat quite a few guys in the process to get there. So, he's got the hands, he's got the athleticism required, and in the big moments, he's made a lot of big plays in his career as well. So when the lights have shined brightest on him, he's performed great. And if anyone watched the Shrine Bowl recently, he was actually the Shrine Bowl defensive player of the game as well. Now, I know it's an all-star game, etc., but you got to saw just what he was about in that game. He was terrific and didn't give up anything whatsoever. As I say, the route recognition when he's dropping into zone, especially even against the more complex guys, he's gone up against some very technically gifted receivers who've given a lot of cornerbacks problems in football, and he just seems to find a way to be able to deal with them. He likes to give himself a bit of room to work. Again, when it comes to up on the line of scrimmage, working entirely in man, he's a little bit more uncomfortable when it comes to that. But he has shown in flashes he can do that as well. He's incredibly tough as well. He's got a good frame at 6'1". Maybe just needs to beef up a tiny little bit more, but I think we've seen enough from him in that facet of the game to say he's going to do very well there. And he's versatile as well. They play him in the slot, they play him at outside corner. He also plays as their robber as well. So they've asked him to do quite a bit as well, given he's only a 2 year starter. And the most important thing, he's just gotten better year by year. Like every year that's gone on with more snaps, he's improved. He's never hit a downward curve, and you only expect that it's going to happen at the next level. Now, as far as coming up to the next level is, like I say, he needs to learn to work in press better. He needs to get a little bit more physically aggressive with his guys. He likes to win with his brain and not with his brawn all the time, and you need both in the NFL. Again, as my previous pick was, he needs to get the tackling done a bit better as well. Just work on that technique. Again, you can forgive a little. He's moved from safety to corner and the thing entirely changes. So you can forgive him for maybe being a bit high at this point. But coming up to the NFL, you've got to get that out of your system. But it's easily fixable if you're willing to learn and do it right. So as far as problems goes, it's not the worst in the world. But yeah, just sort that press man technique out, and he's going to be great. And I think, again, he's another who's got the personality fit with Detroit. And I think he's going to be a really good corner. And for us, as the terms of the Lions, I just think we need a development corner. We've spent high draft picks on starters. Now we need to work up the depth behind that. And I think he will be an absolutely perfect fit for us. You can bring him in a little bit in his rookie year if you want. I think you'd be able to do plenty with him, especially against some more of the pain in the arse matchups when it comes to the technicians. So I think it works all the way around. So Donald Fortune, the cornerback from South Carolina, is my third guy there. I love it. We've got 4 more to go. Rye, who's up next for you?
I've got Ethan Burke, Texas. Well, not even outside linebacker, the edge rusher. So 3 years, just 74 tackles, 4 passes, 7.5 sacks, forced fumble, and a pick six. But 6'6", 260 pounds. He looks like a carbon copy of Aiden Hutchinson. And prior to this season happening, a lot of Texas beat reporters said he has got like a high. If he had a star year this year, he would have absolutely flown up the boards. The only reason is it's a lack of production throughout his entire college career. Not for want of trying either. He's got size, he's got weight, he's got a lot of length, and he's very athletic with a high motor that if he had the production would be able to play all downs. Like I said, he's improved in his run game. That is where he needs his most work. But he has got the tools to be a serious pass rusher. For some reason or another, it's not quite panned out production-wise in college. But in recent years, we've seen in the draft a lot of guys be taken fairly high that have had minimal to no college production. We've seen them struggle. Like I say, look at Lucas Van Ness. Like I say, he didn't have that much college production behind him, did it? Good pass rusher, but he never lit the numbers up. And like I say, he was taken very highly. And Ethan, I think he's got a lot of traits that I really like. Like I say, he's physically imposing. He's got stamina. He's got tank. Like I say, he's able to keep going. He's able to give as much effort as he can at the start of the game as he is at the end of the game. He shows flashes. He shows the flashes of the bend, the hand, the athleticism, that potential like Arsenal, those maybe spin moves, those kind of like say those jump cuts that he could potentially add to his game one day. Yeah, he's very, I hate the word raw, but yeah, he's like a ball of clay. He needs a lot of help. He needs molding. Like I say, he's been part of a fierce defensive line this year. Like I say, he's had to wait and bide his time. He managed to chip in, I think, 2.5 sacks this year on a team, like I say, made to add a good, strong NFL or college football push. So he's got a lot of stuff to work with. I like him. Like I say, he's untapped potential if he lands on the right team and someone's willing to work and put a lot of time with him. You could have someone that could be turn out to be a serious pass rusher one day. And for us, we can't get enough of these project guys. Like I say, I'd be picking one up potential on each day to try help our defensive line. Like I say, he's a guy that I'd expect to chip in, ask where he's play where he's asked, maybe kick inside if he can work on the run game. But yeah, like I said, I like him with a kid with a lot of talent. Like I said, the future's bright. He's just not all there right now. So he's a guy that is going to go because of his size and his build. I reckon it's like a round 5 kind of guy. Like I say, he's still got heavy upside. He's just not showing it as of right now.
Yeah, that's what day three is all about. It's about realizing the potential that you know is there. So that is Ethan Burke. He is the edge outside linebacker hybrid from Texas. Just a quick stop in there just to address a couple of comments. So Malmarker goes, I appreciate you repeating the names. That is absolutely fine. Mike the Marine is in the building. Hope you are doing well, Mike. Damian Smith goes, Pat Bryant to replace Tim Patrick. Now,
I like Pat Bryant.
Pat
He's going to go
Bryant
pretty high too.
Pat Bryant is so he's on my I've got like a page list of guys I considered for this year. Both Pat Bryant and Ricky White, who I absolutely adore in this draft as replacements for Tim Patrick. I personally believe they're going to go day 2.
Yeah, they'll
So
be gone.
he's not on my list simply because I don't think he's going to be there. I love Pat Bryant and what he's about, and I love Ricky White even more. So yeah, they're a pair of pass catchers who'll go be long gone by then, in my opinion. If he does come to us day 3, I'd be absolutely stoked. But yeah, I like your thinking. I'd be on the same. If we're going to get him in, absolutely, I could see him as a replacement for that. And I think the Lions should do it. They do need to get a new guy on the outside who's younger, long term. So yeah, completely agree with you there, Damien. All right, let's move on. I think we've got 3 left now on this list, and you've got an edge player. I've got an edge player. I've gone 4 defenders here so far, and it's not by choice, but. And again, this is another. He caught my eye more because of what he did at the Senior Bowl. Yes, he's come from the FCS. He's damn good. He's historically good. The question is, can he hang with the bigger guys? And questions over his frame and that. I think he answered a lot of them. And that is the very curious case of the edge slash outside linebacker, David Walker from Central Arkansas, who, again, another I've really begun to appreciate what he's doing. So he is 6'2" and 260 pounds. He spent his career at Central Arkansas. Let me just quickly get up his stats here because he's just been absolutely freakish in what he's been able to do at FCS level. Just bear with me one moment. He is a 3-year guy from there. And when I can get this up properly, come on, I should have all. Why do I not have my stuff up here? So yeah, 6'2", 260. Over these last 3 years, he's just gone absolutely insane. He has a run defense grade which has never been below 90. He's a big, even for a smaller guy, he's a unit when it comes against the run. 151 quarterback pressures, 37 sacks, 17 hits, 97 hurries, 6 battered passes, 154 total tackles, 130 run stops, just a 16% missed tackle rate over his career, 5 forced fumbles, even got a few PBUs there as well. And he's got 5 forced fumbles to go with that, as well as a historically productive play. He was the winner of the Buck Buchanan Award this year, which is given for the top FCS defender, and it is the first time in Central Arkansas's 30-year history that they've ever had a player win that award. So it just goes to show you, he has been historically productive if he's gone on, but he is highlighted by his explosiveness as a pass rusher and and his run defense ability as well, which you saw in the All-Star game. This guy is everywhere. He never stops going. The lateral agility from side to side on the field, if you're going after the running backs or rushing quarterbacks, he can keep up with the quickest of them. He's got great hands, great technique when it comes to his pass rushing. He's been able to put so many guys on the ground. His closing speed, 4 steps, he's at the quarterback. He doesn't have any time to make any moves off the ball because he's already got somebody on him as well, and he can bend. Like, you talk about reducing the angle to get around to the quarterback. He's got some serious bend to him. You look at him and you think he's not the kind of player who's able to do this sort of stuff, but he absolutely is. So he plays at the 7 tech primarily. He plays at wide 9 a lot as well. Central Arkansas sort of do like to play the wide 9 a lot, but that just gives him 2 or 3 yards to set up his pass rush moves, absolutely flummox an offensive tackle, and be at the quarterback before you know it. And as I say, he's just so explosive in doing so. He's there, before the quarterback even knows what's happening. He's got the speed, he's got the power, and despite the length, despite, the 6'2", 250 frame people worry about, it's the same critique with Mike Green. He's on the smaller side, but people went, oh, look, he's 251, he's going to be fine now. The guy's the same size. So any, credence you're going to be able to give to Mike Green, you can give to David Walker as well. But I just love the guy's energy. He is he's just, you set him off, he's like a firework. He keeps going. You just can't contain him. And he just makes play after play after play. Now, of course, the level of opposition comes into this. He's going to take time to adapt to the NFL. Depends how you want to play him. But if we are going to go the way that our new D-line coach likes to play, which is 3-4 as outside linebackers, he's going to thrive in that position, and was one of the reasons why I put him on this list. Because if they're going to look for scheme-specific players, I think that's where his wheelhouse is going to be. You have 3 big, nasty, hulking defensive tackles taking up a lot of the attention down the middle. You get this guy one-on-one with some poor tight end or some slow offensive tackle, he is going to be able to eat, especially when you've got Hutch as the other outside linebacker on the other side. I think he'd be the kind of guy who can come in and surprise you early, but long-term be a great addition to us. And he's getting a lot of traction. He's probably going to go earlier day 3 than later day 3 now, as people thought. But again, you look at the profile, the way he plays, the way he talks, just everything about him says that he would fit in very well here. So David Walker, the edge out of Central Arkansas, is my 4th guy there. And now we've got one left each, right? Who are you finishing off with? Oh,
Me.
there we go.
See, this name, I reckon you would have guessed I'm going to put him. If I said I'm keeping it close to home.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, so I'm going, like, say, with one of my favourite players in the class. I'm going Shamari Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with the former Austin Peay governor and the current Arizona State Sun Devil, free safety / strong safety. 4 years, he's racked up as a 4-year starter, 212 tackles, 15 passes defended, a sack, 5 forced fumbles, 4 of which were this year, and 9 career interceptions. East-West Shrine Bowl invite this year, he was at the camp, measured in at around 6 feet and 195 pounds. I love him. I love him because I love him for us as well. Like I say, it's up in there if he's going to be returning this year to the Lions. Brandon Joseph, well, he burnt that bridge. Unfortunately, probably unlikely to come back. That adds Lauren Strickland as really the only kind of depth we'd have as a rotational piece and or practice squad guy. And our safety groom has somewhat developed a reputation for playing the game with a reckless abandonment, almost slightly dirty. So what would it hurt to go out there and get another guy that plays aggressive, downhill, puts his body on the line, has a nose for the ball, and occasionally, yeah, he will absolutely lay a guy out. He'll pay the price for it, like he did, unfortunately, missing the first half of the Texas game because of the ejection call at the end of the season that he faced for absolutely killing a guy, like you say. But and it did notice that in the second half of that Arizona State game against Texas, when they were trailing so badly at halftime and they worked all the way back, he played in that half and suddenly they looked a lot better. Like you say, he is their anchor in the middle of that field. He marshals it, like you say, like a warden. Like you say, he's marshalling the playground in a prison. He does not take prisoners. Like you say, he is a very much can cover both sides of the field, but then when he has to come down hard and fast in front of something, he's very comfortable in that zone. Like you say, he's strong, he's physical. Like you say, he's a great tackler. Like you say, 4 something. He's got an incredibly good punch out. Like I say, he's mastered that kind of little rabbit punch. He always aims to put his helmet on the ball where he can, or if he can't wrap up, he's also got a good nose, hands as well. Like you say, 9 career interceptions. He's been great. He's generated turnovers through his whole career. He's very well respected. He's one of their leaders. I think he's one of their better players in this class that they're sending to the draft this year. Like you say, he got a good look at the East West Shrine Bowl. Did well as well. A lot of guys were enamored, like I say, with his physical play. He's good. He's comfortable in the box, or if you want to put him as part of a safety package and like a cover two too high, he could play some free safety. So he does offer a bit of versatility. He can rotate down into the box and then drop back in coverage. So at this point in his career, he's the finished article. What you see is what you get. Like you say, he's very much he's a physical, aggressive guy. Like you say, he's not overly athletic. He's not the biggest. He's not got the most muscle. But he plays the game to the best of his ability. He plays it 100 mile an hour constantly whenever he can. And I think he'd be a great addition to anyone's locker room. He just brings a bit of juice, bit of spice, like I say. So he's vocal, like I say, he's a leader on that side. I think he'd do wonders, like I say. He's kind of like say we like to play multiple safety packages. We like to make it physical. They've got to be able to tackle, got to be able to bring a guy down there and in the open field, and also then help out in the run game, which he does really well. So I think he'd be a great addition here. Could go as high as round 5. Like I say, I don't think the safety class is that great in the middle. Like I say, and some of these guys will then creep up and got a lot of looks at the East West Shrine Bowl. And like I say, had a good stellar season. Like I say, he was one of the MVPs of the team. He was a sore loss, but then managed to get back for the second half of the playoffs on a national televised games here. He's just gone from year to year, strength to strength, FCS, FBS to Big 12 champion. Like you say, he can say that he's playing the playoff game and he's played in one of the best and one of the biggest turnarounds in college football playoff history. So yeah, he's done everything like say that he's been asked of him. He's played the game the right way. And yeah, I've been enamored with him.
So that is Shamari Simmons, the safety out of Arizona State. And just purely from a petulant point of view, I can never forgive him for trying to kill the Becticle, which he got suspended for. It was a nasty ass hit, but it's the type of player he is. If you like a guy who's going to try and kill somebody, Shamari Simmons is certainly it. Just to say, me and Ryan have done these completely independent of one another. We're at 9 players now. We've both picked an edge outside linebacker hybrid. We've both picked a coverage linebacker. We've both picked safeties who like to kill people and corners who are very crafty up here. Like we've got 4 positions bang on, and we do this completely objective. Unfortunately, it's not going to be 5 out of 5 because he did have a wide receiver in there as well. I am going to move on to offense for my last pick, and this is a
Is
guy
that a
I've
tight end?
mentioned. Hey,
Is it a tight end?
I've got no, 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 no. This is an
That was
offensive
the position I
lineman.
was thinking about. I think we need a tight end 3. I was divering with that one.
See, I think we needed a running back in here. especially a day three
Yeah.
running back. I
Craig
thought
Reynolds
one of
could
us.
walk. Yeah, I thought about running back as well.
I did, but there's that many. I don't know who's going to fall. I feel like a lot of them are going to fall that are going to be really good that should be day two guys, and I don't know. Maybe we can, pontificate on in the end. But I've got one guy left. I have mentioned this guy quite a few times. The Lions do need they need depth at center and they need potential long-term replacement at center. And, there are not household center names in this draft, but there are a lot of good centers, prospects, development prospects in this draft. And the one I think I've mentioned probably more than any, because I love him so much, he comes out of a school where they produce very good trench players. I'm never going to bet against them. We took one just last year. Of course, it's Drew Kendall, the offensive center out of Boston College. His father, Pete, was a first-round pick of the Seahawks in the 90s, all those years ago. He's got lineage, but this is a guy who has the pedigree. He's 6'4", 299 pounds. People say he needs to put on 10 or 15 pounds of muscle. Maybe, but he's just as good in his own right. He's been the starting center at Boston College for the last 3 years now, 2,450 snaps, pretty much 2.5 there. Every single one of them has been taken at the center position. He is vastly experienced as such. He has only ever given up 5 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, and 26 hurries. Sorry. He's only given up 2 sacks in his last 800 pass blocking snaps, and he's coming off his best season of all. That Boston College team revived itself big time this year, and you can see why with the sheer amount of talent it's sending to the draft, whether it be D tackle, edge, tackle, guard, center. They've got positions from everything coming to the draft. But for he himself, as I say, vastly experienced, comes from a system your Boston College guards technically are as adept as you will find. His hands are great. His leverage is really good. He's got good understanding. He's athletic as well. He's got the movement skills, to get up to the second level when he's blocking, to do his combo blocks. He can anchor against the tougher, nastier defensive tackles. He has this little bunny hop thing he does where he sets himself up really well, especially when he needs to give himself a yard against a guy, but it's very tight, very compact. His hands are really good. He is hard to, shake a block from. And it's very tough to bull rush this guy, even given that he's a little bit lighter on the side there. And he's a really good run blocker as well. They like to run the ball there, but he's also had to do a lot of pass protection this year in both facets of the game. He's really good. And, for me, he's going to keep developing at the next level. Yes, he's not got the ability of having played at guard or anything, but I just prefer to play guys where they're good at. You can sit this guy behind Frank. You can teach him what you need to. And if you need him, if Frank, his toe gets at him for a game or something like that, you can bring in an actual center instead of having to move Glasgow or someone like that in there for him. Now, again, some say he needs to put 10, 15 pounds on. I might agree with that. Just, especially when coming up to the NFL, when you're coming up against some of these bigger, nastier, quicker defensive tackles, you might struggle with those a little bit early on, given that he's sub 300 pounds. So yeah, you need to do that. And of course, you need to be able to take our system into account. Our system is a lot more complex than what they run at Boston College. You are expected to do a lot of pulling. You are expected to be running around all over the place. Our run game is our bread and butter, and just gotta get his power base up a little bit. He's very good at stopping, but when it comes to pushing, levering, bits like that, he does need to get a little bit better. But just in terms of where he comes from, how good his hands and that already are, things like putting on a bit of weight, stuff like that. That's stuff you can do. It's not an insurmountable task for him. So yeah, I really like him. He's got good arm span. He's got good arm length. Like the intangibles you look for from his centers. And I say at 6'3", he's got the perfect height as well. So if you just put a little bit more on him and you can sit him there, he will sit and develop nicely behind Frank for the next few years until you potentially need him. But we certainly need another center prospect in there. And I say, he's got the lineage, both in his family and from the team he's coming from. I absolutely love him. 37 starts, vastly experienced. He's a team captain there, which is also what the Lions look for when they're players. They want guys who accept leadership responsibility, etc. He's an he's an all-team ACC guy. Played at the Shrine Bowl, looked pretty good at the Shrine Bowl as well. Um, so yeah, and say he's the right fit for us. Boston College run, I think it's no nearly 65 to 35 in favor of the run. So you want a guy who can be come to a run heavy system like ours. He fits the bill indeed. So I'm finishing it off with Drew Kendall, the center out of Boston College. So we'll just go back through our list just to remind you all. So the purpose of the challenge, as we said, we wanted to create a list of 10 players who we believe might be targeted by the Lions on day 3, because historically we've not done bad in being able to predict these guys. So we're going to put it to the test this year. We're going to go officially on record and see who we're going to get. So the list as follows, and I may as well put this into their groups. So outside linebacker hybrids, we've got Ethan Burke from Texas, and we've got David Walker from Central Arkansas. In terms of linebackers, we've got Carson Bruner from Washington and Jackson Woodard from UNLV. In terms of cornerbacks, we've got Zar Frazier from UTSA and O'Donnell Fortune from South Carolina. In terms of safeties, we've got Aubrey Burks from West Virginia and Shamari Simmons from Arizona State. Then we've got one wide receiver who's Kamir Dyke from Florida. And then we've got one center, which is Drew Kendall from Boston College. You listen to that list there, Ryan. How confident are you that you get one?
Confident, because I've gone with apart from the offensive line, I've gone with the positions I think we have probably the biggest needs at.
Yeah.
Line, secondary linebacker.
See, that's it. When you're looking for day 3, guys, I look at where do you need, if you've got a lot of starters and depth at a position, what do you need? You need development guys. So I'm quite similar. So I'm confident that one of these guys is going to get on there. Absolutely. Let me just quickly go through the comments and that just to see if I've not missed anything. No, I don't. So the other sort of stipulation I added to this. So we've got the 10 who we realistically think there, but I want you to take a guess at a completely out there one that, people might not think about. They might just be so far down the board that no one thinks they're going to go, or it's at a position that nobody thinks they're going to go for. I'll give you a moment to think, 'cause I'm going to give you mine. And I
already know mine.
Oh, you do? Oh, you do? All right then. Well, I'll go to you first. So this is just an aside. This is just a completely out there theory. Who do you reckon the Lions might go for on day 3, and nobody is seeing this coming?
The Lions will draft a quarterback that's not from the FBS. They will either take someone like Connor Watkins from Villanova, or they will go north of the border. They will go to Laurier Hawks. They'll draft Taylor Elgersma. They like Canadians. They went and got Matthew Betts, Giovanni Manu. They clearly keep an eye on the U Sports in college. I think they might throw like a 7th round flyer at the Canadian quarterback, Taylor Elgersma. Because like I said, it feels like it's now or never. It feels like almost if someone makes the right offer and they get the chance to start Hooker somewhere else, I think he's dealt. And I think we pick up, like I say, a serious project quarterback.
I think we must be symbiotic draft twins. I've got quarterback as my whale. Well, that is literally
You don't
5.
feel like a need, but
that is
I
5
can
of
see
the
us picking a
6.
draft.
I'm with you. There's rumors going that Hendon obviously wants to get his career started. What's he going to be? 27 now? He's going to be moving into age 27, and the potential's there. A lot of teams need quarterbacks or potential guys who are going to start. I can see it. So my completely out there pick for the Lions on day 3, whether he's there or not, I don't know.
Max
But I'm just
Grossman.
going to say he is. Kyle McCord. I would, when
If
you
he's
think,
there.
when you think
I'm
about
thinking about that. Yeah,
when you think about the style of quarterback we play, i.e. Jared Goff, we like a good pocket passer who has a wide variety of throws. He likes, he's very safe with the ball, doesn't like to put it in harm's way, tries to find the right matchups, looks through his reads well. But in Kyle McCord's case, he's got a little bit more of a deep ball on him than what Jared Goff does. And if, you're ready to reset the backup quarterback, um, on the team. And he's there because again, Kyle McCord's such an intriguing draft prospect to me. I don't think he should be there on day three. Again, he's a former high star recruit who did nothing wrong in leaving Ohio State. They were particularly mean to him there. He didn't play bad. He's just had a career where he's just had a year where he's thrown for nearly 5,000 yards and made Syracuse relevant again. I would love to have Kyle McCord on this team as the backup if we need one. So that is my completely out there swing for the Lions in day three. But yeah, we've got our 10 sorted. Hopefully, we get at least one of them, and then we can come back and gloat after the draft is done. But in terms of even if they don't end up here, I think a lot of these guys are going to have a lot of success at the NFL level as pertains to day three picks go anyhow. Duh, 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 duh. Matt Walker goes, hands washed, yay, Canada quarterback. I think a lot of people would like the Canada quarterback. Matt's listening because Matt's doing draft project work in the background. Because we've both mentioned we might take a wild swing on a quarterback now. He goes, how much would you be willing to accept for Hooker? POD suggested the value would be around a sixth round pick.
I think you probably get a fifth, sixth. Yeah, it's going to be a pick swap, like a fifth for a sixth, and Hooker, I reckon.
I think you can put conditions on it. I think
I
you can
would probably
condition.
say, I'd give him like a sixth. It becomes, let's say, a fifth or a fourth if he plays. Let's say he starts
50%.
10 games,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, then the pick gets upgraded.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let him get for free and then he turns into a star.
Yeah, I would add conditions to the pick. Absolutely, just to protect myself. Because again, if he doesn't do it this year, you're going into year 28, he's not played, then odds are nothing's going to happen. The window is very slim for him at this point. So, yeah, I would probably do a sixth, but I would add conditions to it, which would go as high as a fourth potentially, just so I can at least recoup the vast majority of what I got back from him. I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying that seems to be the direction things are floating at this moment in time. I have no
See Hooker
problems with Hooker.
to the Jets. I think the Jets make sense, really, because it sounds
Yeah,
like they're washing the hands of Aaron Rodgers.
yeah.
If
Or
you say
hell,
fifth for a sixth for a potential starter, go meet up with Aaron Glenn.
yeah. Or
Makes
hell,
sense for him, really. There's not a
even the
lot of competition there.
oh, or the Bears take him as a backup. Maybe I don't know. Like the amount Caleb's getting sacked over there, they're probably going to need a backup QB more than anything. So that would be interesting if Aaron Glenn took him as a starter there, wouldn't it? Because Aaron Rodgers isn't going back. That'd be intriguing. Because I don't know where are the Jets picking in the draft. They're not. Are they
Seventh, I
seventh?
think currently. So they're
Ooh,
not in they're not in the lottery.
they're not in the elite market,
They're
are
not getting
they?
Cam Ward. They're
They're
not
not getting
getting
Shadur.
not getting Shadur.
You're going to have to overdraft Jackson Dart or somebody like that, way overdraft, or go back. I mean, potentially, if you're going to take a development QB, there'd be no worse. You could do worse than having Hooker go there for a year as cover or as a starter, as a bridge, and then bringing your rookie in. So, I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not sure. It's an intriguing one for sure. Mal Barker goes, I'd like to see him get a shot at a career. I would as well. We want everyone to do well. I mean, Hooker was always brought in to be a backup here. And he knew that, and a lot of teams passed on him. We traded back 3 times before we took him. So I think he realized, but I would like to see him get a shot. Such a shame we can't loan these guys out to go and get experience elsewhere. I'd love a loan system in the NFL, especially for backup QBs and stuff. Brent goes late round wide receiver. I mean, we had Kamiri Dyke in there as for the Lions. Is there anyone else you sort of in the late
Isaiah
round
Neyor,
category? Oh,
Nebraska.
The Nebraska guy.
Yeah.
Isaiah Neyor, that's a good
I think
shout
he,
as
yeah,
well.
he looks quite good. Yeah, There's a lot of big guys, like you say, you can have a day three at receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to go early. I'm either going late day two or early day three for me. Like wherever you get Ricky White or wherever you get Pat Bryant, that
I mean,
that
like
territory.
ideally, like I say, I want to trade 28
Mm,
and I want to move back, pick up a pick in the 50s or 60s, and then I'm taking Trey Harris at Ole Miss. If we can get an extra pick in like late 50s or 60s, I'm taking the Ole Miss receiver.
yeah, yeah. I think we just, because we do have some depth at the receiver positions, but we still got Antoine Green if he comes back from his injury. Like we need another starter, I think, not a development guy, but we could take two. Who knows? It depends the amount of picks you've got towards the end of the draft. Motor City Brick goes, hi people, I like Pat Bryant. Yeah, yeah, I love Pat Bryant too. If Ricky White didn't exist, then Pat Bryant would be my favorite in this one, but he's great. He's what the Lions are about. So I again, I would have had him in this list. I just think he's going day two. I think him and Ricky White are both going day two. Was there anyone else you sort of, we'll just because we've got really nothing else to do now. It's going to be a shorter show today. But was there anyone else you sort of had in consideration? Maybe just at large now, guys in day three who you think are gonna, you know, do really well in the NFL, be it with us or not. Was there anyone else you just left off?
I looked at tight ends, so I looked at like say CJ Dupree, Obama, and is it Thomas Finone?
Oh, Fedoni, the
Donnie,
Nebraska
yeah,
one.
is he Nebraska?
He's the Nebraska one, Thomas
Yeah.
Fedoni.
I had a look at him, like I say, as well. Like I say, yeah, he's like 6'6", 240. Like I say, I had a look at him potentially. I think I'd like to pick up a third tight end. Like I say, with yeah, unfortunately, like I say, with James Mitchell. Like I say, we do lock that. We do miss now, like I say, the fullback slash tight ends free, really. They're not really on the roster right now.
No, I mean, I guess I don't know what the fullback class is like in this draft, but having Roll now on the offensive staff, who's a fullback coach, I guess we still go with our original one. The one that was interesting me while I was doing this, so Aronde Gadsden is projected as a day three pick, and I'm sat there thinking, there's no way in hell, surely. Like, he should be going so much more higher than that. There was a day and age when he was another fringe first round pick. And I know he got injured when he was going to declare, I think, initially, and then he missed time. But he's come back this year. He's been great. He's a pass catcher. He's a big-bodied slot wide receiver. He's an inline tight end. He can block really well. Like, there's no way he falls to day three, right? Because he's here on my list. Because I looked through, I did loads of mock drafts to see which names regularly came up to think which one could I realistically get away with, and he kept in there.
Uh, I find it, like I say, as a pure natural inline or slot receiver, yeah, he's very good. Like I say, he's got good route recognition, he's got good hands, like I say, he's good at contested ball, yeah. Like I say, as a natural, well-rounded tight end, no, it doesn't suit his game, but you're not drafting him to be that. I'm not really
No,
going to be asking him to block because, well, like I say, he's quite skinny. Like I say, he lacks the bulk.
he's
So I think he's fine.
245.
If a team's got a blocking tight end already, like I said, I don't see him falling that far. They're going to go after an attacking weapon.
Again, I think if you add 15 pounds to him of pure muscle, I think because I've watched his tape, I think he is decent as a tight end and a blocker. But for us, especially, he sorts tight end three and he sorts depth receiver out in one go. He doesn't sort X out, but I thought there's no way he can go day three, but I wouldn't put him in there as well. Who else did we have knocking round on there? Um, Oh God, say Ricky White. I think he's going to go day two. Pat Bryant think he's going to go day two. Um, Jay Higgins, like the Iowa linebacker, he's day three as well. And I'm there thinking, no, really? Is he that bad? I thought he's pretty good.
I like tandem a year. Iowa defense was still as robust usually ever is. I didn't see any real fatal flaws in his game this year.
No, I don't. It, 6'2", 232. He's like good size for the position. He's had 2 years of starting there. He's been one of the best. And again, he's another good coverage linebacker. What did he have? Like 5 picks this year or something like that? Like
Yeah, something like
five
that.
picks in the Big Ten at Power Four level. He's at day three. I'm thinking these boards must not be. And this is the problem. Trying to figure out which guys are actually going to be there that are there now. it can change all over the place. Who else did honorable mention? So Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, the right tackle from Florida. I still really like him, but he had an absolutely rotten Senior Bowl or Shrine Bowl, whichever game he went to. Someone was, it might have been Mike Green who was murking on him quite a bit at the time, but yeah, he's still a good player. I think he might be in there. Luke Kandra, the guard, really like him as well. Think he's going to be in, but he didn't fit like some of the others did. Elijah Ponder, there's some of that the Cal Poly edge. He looked really good at the Shrine Bowl. I think he's certainly going to get drafted from the small school there, right?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he didn't. Like you say, he's been very productive at that level, and I like him. Like you say, he's got a tweener build, but yeah, also had a good camp. Like you say, had a good ball week, so I like him. I think he's shown that he can hang and mix with the big boys.
A few questions in here. So Motor City Brick goes, maybe I missed this, but is Mike Green of interest to you guys or that guy from Old Miss, Princely, Uman Malin? I think it's safe to say they're both of interest. I know you, the Old Miss guy who loves watching them, I know you really
I
like
don't think we
Princely.
get Princely because 28 is too high, and then next pick is what in the 60s.
Yeah,
He's gone.
exactly 60. You
Yeah,
think
I
he's in
think
that
he's
you think
gone
he's
by
in that
60,
little bit of
and
a
I'm not comfortable at 28.
he's in that neutral ground.
But
Mike
if we move
Green,
back out of the
yeah.
first round or pick up an extra second round, I'll definitely take Princely. I've seen him in a few mocks, and yeah, Mike Green, like I say, a hot name. Like I say, yeah, I can see a lot. Like I say, I can see him not even being there at 28.
No, Mike Green I
It
really
feels like a
like.
lot of buzz, like you say there. Whether or not he should be taken for 28, I can't tell you. It just feels like right now someone is gonna be enamored with what they've seen on tape or at the push. So they've seen the plays, they've seen the buzz, they've seen the measurements. They're gonna fall for him. Someone's gonna reach probably a little bit for him.
The back end of this edge class for me is dangerous in round one. You've got guys like Uma Malin, Green,
Yeah.
Iziruwaku, who I really like, but am I comfortable at 28? I'd be comfortable at 35. Am I comfortable at 28?
I see a
Sounds
lot
silly.
giving us Shamar Stewart. I
It's
don't want that at
no,
28.
no, 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 no. That Texas A&M fraudster can get out of here. I don't care. Ras might love you, but people who watch football don't. Um, apart from Tamu
Yeah.
fans.
Second
This
round, I like Jared Ivey. Somewhere around 60 onwards, I might pick up Jared Ivey.
what you prefer? Because he's the other old Miss Edge Rusher, right?
He is, yeah. I
All
like
right
him.
then.
He's a
Okay.
bit stiffer, but I like him.
Which one out the two would you rather have? If you could get them at the preferred positions, which one would you rather have?
I'll take Princely.
Oh, you will take
Purely from
Princely.
like say better going outside than he's inside.
Hmm. But yeah, I would have no problems with Mike Green. I wouldn't go up any further to grab him.
No,
Only trouble is
I don't want to trade up for anyone, if I'm honest.
the group of five thing is legit. Like I love his pass rush repertoire and everything is about it. He's everything I think we need a pass rusher to be this year. They've got to be smart, clever, and they've got to have a bag full of tricks. If you ain't got that, sorry, we don't need you. We got a lot of pocket collapsers who can't get to the quarterback. We don't need more. We need a pocket collapse who can actually go and kill the running back, the quarterback, which Mike Green can do. But the level will always be a concern. Everyone goes about how many sacks he got last year. Javen Solomon got that many sacks last year in the Sun Belt, and what did he go? 101? He's worked his way into the Bills rotation this year, but getting all those sacks in the Sun Belt isn't the be all and end all. So you've just got to be careful. I'm certainly not giving up any extra capital to get him, but if he's there at 28, I would consider it. But if we are again, I want a veteran in free agency. I'm not going into a year where I want to win the Super Bowl with him and expecting him to produce in year one. That's just not fair of him. We should not expect him to come in next year and take us to a Super Bowl with Hutch because that's just not feasible. So if you get a nice free agency edge guy, senior guy, and you can have Mike Green as your three to let him develop in peace, sign me up for it. If not, don't want it. Other question we got there. Any HBCU players getting drafted from Brent? Well, hopefully next week, when we finally do our HBCU Legacy Ball show, we will be able to get some answers to that. But I don't know. After last year, I still have haunting memories of last year. We all thought someday Arthur Anderson was going to get drafted last year after his great senior Shrine Bowl, and squat, nada. Now, Carson Vincent is the hot name this year, but he had a bad senior bowl, and I don't know how much that set him back in the scouts' minds. So you would like to think he would. You've got some good DBs coming out as well. This Kendall Bowler, the Florida A&M corner. There's another one as well whose name escapes me, but I would yeah, I'm skeptical that one gets done this year, Brent, because again, everyone talked really nice about Carson Vincent this year, but they talked really nice about Sundar Anderson last year, and then that didn't mean squat. So I think it's going to be a push at this point, but hopefully we'll get Gerald on next week and he can give you a bit more of a thorough answer on that. Long snappers, mile marker going on the joke there. Colorado School of Mines, their long snapper is predicted to get drafted. Josh, whose last name I can't pronounce and I won't try to. So, but not for the Lions, but I'm sure Matt appreciated that one there. And he also goes Sunday Arthur didn't look like an NFL player on tape. He was a light edge rusher. He was, but you can put poundage on, and he probably wouldn't have played directly on the edge. You'd have played him at outside linebacker. You'd have found a package for him to work. But trust me, there's a lot more crap that gets taken on day 3 that just doesn't even stand a chance there. He had the school productivity to go with it. That's why I get so annoyed with it, because you see a lot of these players pick day 3 from big schools at the end, and they're clearly not going to make it. But they get drafted anyhow as a flyby. So, this should extend towards them as well. I don't think the FCS products in class this year, there's not as many big ones this year, are there? Like last year, there were loads of FCS ones at the top. I mean, I guess this one would be Grazer Bell. There's David Walker, who should get drafted.
Got Cam Miller.
Cam Miller. Do you reckon Cam Miller gets drafted? Do you reckon he's in there now?
He's going to be, if he is, he'll be like last 20, 30 picks.
Mr. Irrelevant territory.
Yeah. Like you say, Bryce Lance would have probably got drafted, but he's going back.
Yeah.
2025. I would have loved him, but yeah. Yeah, there's, like you say, and then you've got Connor Watkins, the Villanova QB. I like him. Like I say, 6'3", 225, pocket passer. I think he's got a chance of being drafted. Like I say, good school, good pedigree, been very productive. He's, like I say, probably very much fringe round 7 UDFA pick.
Just trying to think. Well, there were a few who were balling out in the bowl games. I think it was it the Shrine Bowl that we did pretty well in this year? And now all the documents have been moved around because Matt's added a new folder into the file. In terms of other FCS prospects, there was. Give me a moment. No, it must not have been. Carter Runyon, the Towson tight end. He might get drafted.
Yeah. He's well built, and what is he like 6'6",
Oh,
240, 230, 240, isn't
he? He's huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got offensive linemen, I think, are where it's going to be at. So you've got
you got Michael Ver.
You've got Marcus Fur, the Montana State guard. He'll get drafted. Gareth Warren from Lindenwood, the Division 2 guy, looked pretty good. Aiden Williams, the Minnesota Duluth tackle, looked pretty good. Thomas Perry, the D3 Middlebury player, he looked pretty good in parts as well. Maybe some more, UDFAs there, but Elijah Ponder should get drafted as well out of Cal Poly. So that goes there. In terms of others, Aaron Smith, he's the other one I mentioned, the South Carolina State linebacker. He should get drafted as well. He should get drafted as a HBCU prospect. So maybe more so than over Carson Vincent. So they've got the potential there. And then actually the DBs. So Tyron Herring, the Delaware cornerback, had the really, really good Shrine Bowl. I would expect him to get some love there. And then you've got Isis Baxter, who's the Villanova corner. Wow, Villanova sending some talent to the draft this year. The corner looked pretty good. The quarterbacks really there.
Crop this year.
They made the playoffs, though, didn't they? They had their first, when we went back to the playoffs, they had their first playoff win there. So, intriguing. Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, just drop them in there. Because again, we've sort of done everything for the day now, so we're going to hang around for a few more minutes. Then we will get out of here. So yeah, just let us know if there's anything else you want us to answer. There's nothing in Twitch there. We'll just quickly go through the schedule coming up whilst we do. So next week on the main Lions podcast. We're starting profiles of draft prospects. We're doing that for the next few weeks. So it's edge players next week, mixtures of edge, outside linebacker types. So join us for that to meet a whole host and wide variety of guys there. And then myself and Ryan will obviously be back in a week, probably on the Wednesday, and it's HBCU Legacy Bowl week. So with or without Gerald, hopefully with, but with or without, we will do that as well. We'll go through the roster, any names to, keep an eye on, potential draft diamonds, all that sort of stuff. We will do that. And then in a couple of weeks, it's the combine. Probably go through combine invites next week as well, because I'm hopeful the full list is out. At the minute, it's just teams declaring who's going, and there's no central list for it, which is a pain in the neck. But there's been some good The combine seems to be getting its act together this year. Some good ones going. So that's what's going on in terms of shows coming up. I mean, Max Brosma got himself a combine invite, right? The train goes. The Bros might get drafted, which would be massive for him.
Yeah, if he can show some athleticism. Like I say, I think that'll be probably where he needs to show best. I mean, the 40 is not important, but the cone drills, obviously they do that stupid thing now where you throw a ball at a bag and it tells you how hard you throw it. Like I say, just general athleticism. Like I say, I think that will probably show. Can he be dual threat? Can he throw on the run? Can he escape the pocket and evade pressure and step up? So yeah, he'll just do stuff the way it's probably his bottom half.
Yeah, absolutely. It figures to be a good combine. I've been seeing some good things come out this week. Rutgers are sending 5 players, which is the most they've sent since 2013, which goes to show the job
Yeah.
he's doing there.
I
This
was going to
Rutgers
pick one of
team.
their guys, Mohamed Torre, the
Oh,
linebacker
the
that tore his
linebacker.
ACL. But it was having last
Oh,
year. He was stellar last year.
yeah, that's probably going to be a bargain, right? If he comes back what he was
Yeah, come off a torn
before.
ACL this year. So he only played a couple of games and his season were over, but he was huge for them.
You've got some good prospects. You've got Holland Pierce, the left tackle. I really like. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Detroit. To be fair, you've got Longer Beam, the corner, who's pretty good as well. He's just buried in a bit of a class there. So the Rutgers ones do well. But yeah, we'll go through the combine invites. Who needs to have a good combine? Who might suffer from a bad combine, etc. All that sort of stuff. Marmarker goes, appreciate you going over the new lines coach from NDSU. Of course we will. If anything college related with the lines, we will always go through that there. It's good to see him in. Hopefully he's going to have a great career here. Apologies if the sound went for a little bit. Hopefully it's been all right for the majority of the show, though. I think that is just about everything. I think we've gone through all the questions we've had. We've gone through all that. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this evening. We've given you 10 prospects to watch out for in terms of the day 3 lines prospects. I'll just read them off one more time so you can keep them fresh in your mind. So the 10 we've eventually gone for. We've gone for 2 outside linebacker hybrid edge types. So we've got Ethan Burke from Texas and David Walker from Central Arkansas. We've got 2 coverage linebackers, Jackson Woodard from UNLV, Carson Bruner from Washington. We've got 2 aggressively minded corners, Czar Frazier from UTSA and O'Donnell Fortune from South Carolina. We've got 2 hard-hitting safeties in Aubrey Burks from West Virginia and Shamari Simmons from Arizona State. And then we've got 1 offensive lineman, Drew Kendall, out of Boston College. And we've got 1 receiver, Kamiri Dyke from Florida. You're right, Brent. It is an interesting hire. The roll tide. We are literally roll tide. We hire players from Alabama and we hire guys whose last name is Roll. Roll Pride. Go on. But anyhow, we appreciate you all Roar of the Lions UK. You can find us all over the internet. Just type it in and you will find us. Again, with draft season going on, if there's anyone you want us to look at in more depth, any positions, etc., just let us know. We are at your command and we will do the work there for you. We want to give you as much information as possible going into this draft, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help you all out. But yeah, we appreciate you all for being with us. Mile Marker, Brent, Motor City, Brits, everyone else who's been in there as well. Yeah, appreciate you all. We shall see you again soon. One Pride.
Recording stopped.
He was there. Sweet.